Welcome back to Julie's Infinite Playlist. This is your host, Julie. Before we start today's episode, I just had a couple things I would like to let you know about. First, there is actually a really awesome show coming up that I really wanted to let you guys know about. This will happen at Flamingo Cantina on December the 2nd, and tickets are available now, both general admission and VIP. This show is presented by Music Live and College of Hip Hop Knowledge. It is Chris Rivers, who is the son of Big Pun, and he's got a lot of amazing support from some local acts, including Animal Abstract, who has been on this podcast, and as a little teaser, will be returning to this podcast. So definitely check that out. You can go to the Facebook event through Flamingo Cantina and see that there and get tickets, or you can buy the tickets directly through Eventbrite. Also, just to reiterate, if you'd like to support this podcast, you may do so several ways. The easiest way to do so is through rating and reviewing on iTunes and subscribing and rating and reviewing on Stitcher. This will help the podcast get sponsors. You can also, if you'd like to help out monetarily, you can become a patron on patreon.com/Julie's Infinite Playlist. There's 3 different rewards levels with 3 different types of rewards. Those include shout-outs on social media and through the podcast, as well as extra content that you don't get just by listening to the episodes every 2 weeks. So I definitely recommend checking that out if you'd like to help us out. So today's episode is actually a very special episode. This is with my dad, Steve. He is a musician. He has been since before I was born. And I just wanted to bring him on to bring a little bit of perspective of what it's like to be a musician for your whole life. And, just talk about music and our love for music. So here we go. Welcome to Julie's Infinite Playlist. Today we have a special guest. It's my dad, Steve Roth. I'm bringing him on because I feel like he has been a huge influence on my love for music. So I just wanted to talk to him about being a musician. How are you doing today, Steve?
I'm doing fine.
What is your first memory of music?
Playing records on a little kid's record player I used to have that I suppose my mom and dad bought me. But I used to play these little, kid music records, little vinyl 45s. I can't remember what songs they were, but I loved listening to it. That's all I remember.
Yeah. And when did you first start playing music?
Started playing the guitar when I was about 12 years old. Got a guitar for a birthday present, a regular acoustic guitar. And I don't think I even played it for the first 6 months or so. I just messed around, and then I actually figured out how to make a couple of chords out of a chord book, and that got me into it, and I just couldn't stop after that.
And why did you start playing the bass?
The bass was about 14, probably two, maybe 3 years later. I know a friend of mine down the street had a Hofner Beetle bass, which today would probably be worth a lot of money. And I borrowed it from him. And I was just messing around with it, and then met some guys in high school that were guitar players, and they were, let's get together, you bring your bass over here. Well, and that kind of thing. We used to call them garage bands back in the day. Get together in each other's garages. And I was the guy that had the bass, even though it wasn't really mine. And I just dug it. I started figuring out bass lines on songs and took off from there.
And what type of music did you play when you first started playing?
Rock. The rock of the day. And I'm talking early 70s, so it's what they call classic rock now. A little bit of Beatles, although the Beatles were a little too complicated for me. I was more... Probably the first stuff I played was like Creedence Clearwater, because their music was real simple. Mm-hmm. Still is real simple. But, these guys on the guitars would know those songs, and I would figure them out on the bass parts, and everything was easy, and we'd be playing together and going, hey, we sound just like Creedence, man. Even though we didn't.
Do you remember the name of your first band that you were in?
The first band that played that actually played gigs. No, I don't remember what we had. I guess we had a name, but the one after that we got together and actually played some shows. It's called Mud Shark, and that was the name of a song on a Frank Zappa album.
Yeah.
And we took it. I don't know why, but who knows why you come up with stupid band names.
Let's rock and roll.
Yeah, exactly.
I have had a band on here that they're named after a song from another band, so.
I guess that's pretty common, really, right? Especially if the name is cool.
Yeah. And what was your first live show like?
Probably nervous as a wreck. You mean what was the show or what was I? Well, probably was like a little summertime youth center where kids went to play ping pong and basketball court and an indoor building, where they could, they'd put out snacks. Some place for kids to go during the summer. I think that's exactly what it was.
Yeah.
And one of the guys in the band probably had a parent that worked there or a sibling who worked there or was part of the program, and we just said, hey, we'll come play, for an hour or one afternoon, and that's what we did.
Yeah.
But yeah, the one I remember getting paid for was a high school, like not a prom, but dance of some kind.
Yeah.
I remember being very, very nervous. It's kind of funny now because I could care less. But I still get excited about playing, but nervous, nah. I'm not nervous.
Yeah. Well, that's good. When did you start playing in Tejano bands?
That would have been not long after I started playing, right in the mid-'70s. Not Tejano bands, but playing polkas and cumbias.
Yeah.
Wasn't even called Tejano music back then.
Yeah.
Just they might have called it Tex-Mex. But the first real one I played was in like 79, 80, and that was the Latin Breed. They're still around.
Yeah.
They played predominantly Tejano music.
Yeah.
Did a few covers of some songs, but they had albums out and everything. They were recording bands. So.
Awesome. Just for some background, Steve is from San Antonio.
San Antonio, Texas.
Of Tejano.
That's right.
And who all have you played with?
Well, the Latin Breed, their ex-singer Jimmy Edward, Little Joe Bravo, Ram Herrera. We're talking strictly Tejano bands?
Just whoever you've played with, period.
Lots of local cover bands. I was actually living in Austin when you were born, meaning Julie, the young lady that's interviewing me right now.
Yes, born and raised in Austin.
And played here with Joel Guzman, who's a pretty well-known accordion / keyboard player. Really moved to Austin to play with him. But the Tejano bands were the major ones that I played with are all those. And I've recorded with a lot: Bob Gallarza, Ruben Ramos, Jay Pettis, David Lee.
Not David Lee Roth.
No, David Lee Garza. I make a joke about that sometimes as people say, I tell them my name is Stevie D, because my middle name is D. And Roth, and they say, you related to David Lee Roth? And I said, no, but I'm related to David Lee Garza. I know it doesn't make any sense. But,
I get people ask me all the time if I'm related to David Lee Roth, and I'm just like, I don't know. Probably somewhere. And what was it like to win a Latin Grammy?
That was nice. I don't actually have a Grammy, but I got a certificate. And actually, I've played on 3 CDs that between them have 2 Latin Grammys and 2 regular Grammys. One of them won both, one of each. And then I'm sorry.
It's okay.
And the first one was a Little Joe album before the Latin Grammys were even around. And the most recent one was with David Lee Garza. It's about 2 years ago was a Latin Grammy. So.
Awesome. And how has music changed in your lifetime?
A lot. There's very real. Well, there's still a lot of real. I want to say real musicians, but they play instruments instead of just keyboards and drum machines. Although that's predominantly what sells nowadays. From what I see, I don't keep up with modern music that much.
Yeah.
Because stuff I listen to, even though a lot of it's modern, is like people playing a bass guitar or an upright bass or guitar or a drum set. That's what I like to listen to.
Yeah.
So that's what's changed in my lifetime is everybody's programming keyboards and drum machines now instead of playing real instruments. Not everybody. I shouldn't say everybody. A lot of what sells that you hear on the radio is like that.
Yeah.
Unless you're talking rock. Rock musicians still do their thing, which is cool.
Yeah.
And of course jazz and R&B, a lot of, old school R&B. Use instrumentation.
I still
Not that there's anything wrong with that.
Yeah, I still listen to mostly instrumental music, so to speak, rather than the drum machines and things.
Mm-hmm.
It's not a bad thing. Just
No. It's just what it is.
Not my taste.
Yeah.
What was the first band that you ever saw live?
Well, I guess it would have to have been a group called Paul Revere and the Raiders. Remember them?
No. What a name.
Right. They were, they had several hits back in the late 60s. Back when the Beatles were happening, and the Rolling Stones were still, the Beatles were actually still around and were recording and doing live shows.
Yes.
Yeah, that would have been, other than seeing like the rodeo players, my mom would take me to the rodeo once in a while.
Yeah.
There would be some country acts there.
Of course.
I don't know if you want to count them or not.
You can count them. Country music is a genre of music.
It's legitimate.
Yeah. Maybe not the best genre, but... And who are your influences?
Musically in general or bass playing in particular?
Both.
Well, of course, the Beatles, Stones, anybody from what they called the British invasion back in those days, the Kinks. And later on, the fusion guys. I loved Weather Report, still, Return to Forever, Chick Corea. My main bass playing guy is Jaco Pastorius.
I've actually had a few musicians mention him on this
awesome.
podcast.
Not just as a bass player, he's a great, wouldn't want to call him a songwriter, he was a composer. Music he came up with was magnificent. Great music, still listen to it all the time now.
Yeah.
And then every other bass player I've ever had to learn a song from. You learn something from him.
Yeah. And if you could play with anyone alive or dead, who would you want to play with?
Anyone alive or dead?
David Bowie.
Well, that'd be cool.
Yeah.
Heck, I wouldn't mind playing with Justin Timberlake. I really got into his that documentary that he had.
Yeah.
That was really good.
It was fantastic.
He seemed like a nice cat.
Yes.
Besides being a great musician and a songwriter.
And he's
he dances pretty good.
Extremely amazing and talented performer.
Mm-hmm.
As someone who got to see him live recently, I can confirm he still has amazing stage presence, maybe even better than when he was with NSYNC.
I saw them.
Yeah, you did.
But yeah, I guess I guess I really can't think of any one person that I'd like to play. I like to play with everybody, so that's an almost impossible to answer.
I mean, as many people as you want to name.
As many people as I want. Okay, John Lennon, up through Joe Zawinul, who used to be the leader of Weather Report. He was a keyboard player. I'll just say those two for now. I can't.
And who do you listen to that you think would surprise people?
Wow. I listen to everybody and everything. I don't think anything would surprise anybody. Maybe. Well, people don't know me. I guess Tejano music artists might. Well, wow, what are you listening to? That's what. But the people know me that I played with all those guys and guys and gals. So I don't. I don't know. I listen to a little bit of rap. Maybe that, every once in a while I hear a rap song, or not necessarily rap, but like a modern R&B singer songwriter.
Yeah.
And really like them. I like well, let's say the Roots. I really love the Roots. I like Questlove. He's a great drummer.
He is.
Maybe that might surprise people, I guess.
Yeah.
Of course, they're really getting mainstream now that they're on they're the house band of some TV show now.
Well, and rap is actually the most popular genre of music.
Are they a rap group?
I mean, soul, funk, hip hop.
Yeah.
It's a lot. With a
little bit of rap mixed in.
Yeah. But I think it's funny that a lot of people do say rap, and I'm like, it's not that surprising, because it's, I think my generation was kind of the generation that made that happen, made it become so popular. So.
Oh yes, definitely. It's all your fault.
Yep, and I'm proud of it. And who are you playing with now?
I play with local groups. Main group is the Tovar Brothers, Los Tovares. They're like a half country, half Tejano, with a little bit of other stuff mixed in. But just for instance, this past weekend, they took the weekend off, and I ended up playing with 3 different bands. So if people call me, I go play with them. I was real busy last week having to learn a lot of material.
Yeah.
Although one band, I knew most of their stuff. So I only had to learn like 5 or 6 songs. But another one, the one that I told you I played a Justin Timberlake song with, they had a lot. They do a lot of old R&B, but they do a lot of newer stuff.
Yeah.
And like that song from the Troll song.
Yep.
And,
Can't Stop the Feeling.
Yeah. So I
Such
had.
a good song.
They had a lot of song titles on there that were like this Lady Gaga song, na 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 na.
Yeah.
It's called Bad Romance. I never knew that. I said, "What's this song, Bad Romance?" And then he put it on. And, oh, God, that's the name of that song. And there's like 3 or 4 others. And, oh, that's that song. See, because I really don't listen.
Yeah.
I hear it.
Yeah.
Because it's everywhere.
Yeah.
But don't know the song titles.
Yeah.
Usually don't know who does the song. There was a really nice Maroon 5 song that they do. I think it's called Sunday Morning.
Oh, yeah. That one's been around for a long time.
Yeah, that's not necessarily new, but I didn't know that was the name of the song. I didn't know that was Maroon 5 that did it. But anyway, that's what I'm doing nowadays.
He is a freelance bass player.
Yes, freelance.
If you need a bass player for any bass playing needs, whether in studio or live shows, call Steve Roth. And do you have any advice for young musicians?
Practice, 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 play, play. Take every gig that comes your way. If you're just starting out, doesn't matter if you're making money. When you get going, yes, you're going to have to set yourself up. This is what I'm going to play for. And if you go below it once in a while, there's nothing wrong with that. People want to hire you for a benefit that you don't get paid for, and you believe in that benefit. Or even if you don't. Maybe they're a bunch of your friends that are getting together, and they're asking you, come on, go do this benefit. Do it. You're never going to get anywhere sitting at home. Unless you're practicing when you're sitting at home. When you're sitting at home, practice. And play. And be cool. Be a nice person, you know what I mean? Don't be a jerk. Nobody hires jerks. So.
I can't say all of the musicians I've met are very nice, so just continue being nice, basically.
Yeah. And
don't let anything go to your head.
Yeah. And that's kind of a general life rule right there with everything you do, whether you're a musician or not.
But, just be kind.
If you, in the music business, if you want people to call you and then call you back again, you need to be nice about it.
Yeah.
And learn your stuff. Whatever the music you're going to be playing, learn it. Have it down when you get there.
Yeah.
But that's enough. I'm not going to preach no more.
Thank you so much
All right.
for joining me today. Thank you for listening. This podcast was created and produced by Julie Roth with help from Nick Colbert. Special thanks to Nikki Nadeau. All songs performed are property of the musicians performing them. If you like the podcast, please share it with your family and friends. You can also rate, review, and subscribe on iTunes, and rate and review on Stitcher to help the podcast get on the charts. If you'd like to support the podcast, you can do so at www.patreon.com/Julie's Infinite Playlist, and give us a like on Facebook and Instagram. Thank you.